Well, good day, my friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion, and today we're at the old Nashville Municipal Auditorium, and that is the home of the Musicians Hall of Fame Museum, so we're going to check that out today. Days with Jordan the Lion begins now. Nice to see they're giving a use to this historic building. Well, here it is. What a beautiful entrance. This should be a lot of fun. I've heard they have some really epic stuff in here. Check out this stage. I've seen some of their YouTube videos from here, so it's kind of cool to see this, the background. All right, let's explore it. And I love that Rolling Stones logo there with their logo on it as well. Now they start you off showing you like the history of audio, and they actually have something really amazing here. John F. Kennedy stereo. How cool is that? Champagne Candlelight Delight. JFK's copy of Jackie Gleason's Presents Champagne Candlelight and Kisses was one of the records which accompanied Kennedy on many of his trips across the country and foreign trips during his presidency. So cool. Take a look at that. Roy Orbison's guitar. His Chet Atkins model Gretsch. I have that same exact guitar. This was his 1960s Chet Atkins guitar. Now take a look at these. This is Terry Kath from Chicago's bass. 1974 Thunderbird. Terry Kath has since passed. Oh yeah, isn't that cool? The drums from Chicago. This is the first gold album awarded to Chicago while they were still known as Chicago Transit Authority. There's Danny Serapin playing that exact head that we just saw in that case over there. And they have a huge array of gold and platinum records lining this wall. I see everyone over here from Dean Martin to Frank Sinatra, Kenny Rogers, Jimmy Bowen, Reba McEntire. So this is a Fender Rhodes electric piano. They used it at the Caribou Ranch recording studio from 72 to 85, and it can be heard on Elton John songs, the Chicago song Just You and Me, That's the Way of the World, and You're a Shining Star by Earth, Wind and Fire. And then that is the piano from Caribou Recording. This is the piano was used at Caribou Ranch recording in Netherland, Colorado. It can be heard on Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me by Elton John. Also appears on numerous recordings by U2, Chicago, Frank Zappa, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Beach Boys, Tom Petty, and John Lennon. Now let's go see what this other piano is over here. I see some Chicago stuff and Michael Jackson. That was the rehearsal, studio rehearsal piano. This photo was of Michael Jackson in Rolling Stone magazine resting on that piano, this very piano here. Here's some of the history of Motown, the starting of the studio, James Jamerson, Uriel Jones, Robert White, all those guys. There's Berry Gordy. They have some of the instruments from those sessions here too. This was Louis Shelton's Stratocaster, and he played on the Jackson 5 song I Want You Back, ABC, Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On, Lionel Richie's Hello, Stuck on You, and Deep River Woman. And he played the beginning of Last Train to Clarksville. And he also played the lead guitar riff in Summer Breeze by Seals and Croft and Diamond Girl. Used this guitar with Diana Ross, Whitney Houston, the Osmond Brothers, Nancy Sinatra, and Sammy Davis Jr. He also used it on the Glen, Campbell, and Bill Cosby television shows along with many movie soundtracks. So there's some of the stuff that he recorded on with it. And there's a signed poster from the documentary Standing in the Shadows of Motown about the rhythm section. It's signed by all of them too. Here we have the guitar of Dennis Coffey and some of his sound effects. He was one of the later members of the Funk Brothers from Motown. He used these special effects, the wah and the fuzz tone over here, on some of those records, and he had his own hit record called Scorpio. But it says he played this guitar on Ball of Confusion, Cloud 9, and Psychedelic Shack. And then here we have the guitar of Eddie Willis, also at Motown. He used this to play Signed, Sealed, and Delivered, and You Just Keep Me Hanging On. And it's signed down there in the bottom. He was one of the Funk Brothers. Look at these road cases. Jerry Reed. Here we have a case for some of Bruce Springsteen's musicians. Gary Talent. You can see that's his amplifier when he played with Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band. And there's his bass, as well as a MTV award he received playing for Bruce Springsteen. That's Paul Schaefer's costume and his Kurzweil keyboard from David Letterman. 33-year career with Letterman in the world's most dangerous band. No glasses though. Check out this piano. This is from the Philadelphia Sigma Sound Studio. This was used on the recordings of I Love Music, Love Train, For the Love of Money, by the OJ's Young Americans by David Bowie. You can see right there. You'll Never Find Me by Lou Rawls. Then Came You, Could It Be Falling in Love? And I'll Be Around by Dionne Warwick. And then take a look. This is the Les Paul Gallery. Les Paul, the man who's credited with the solid body guitar. This is Django Reinhardt model acoustic guitar. His Cashbox Award back there. There's his 1975 Les Paul. He used it on Chester and Lester, Grammy-winning album that was produced by Chet Atkins. There's his custom license plate and some Capitol Awards over here, as well as his studio ribbon mic. Now we're heading into the Johnny Cash exhibit, and I noticed they have one of Marshall Grant's upright basses and one of his costumes. He played in the original Tennessee 2, Tennessee 3 era of Johnny Cash's career. Very cool. All kinds of awards for Johnny in here. His Lifetime Achievement Kennedy Center Award. His Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. Here it's showing Johnny Cash and Glen Campbell together. And then look, some of the cue cards from the 1973 Country Music Awards show, when they were having their dialogue back and forth. And here was Johnny's guitar player for his group, the early days, Luther Perkins, original band member. See a lot of wear on that guitar. And then here was his amplifier. Here's the Chet Atkins Award, called the Chetty, given to Johnny Cash. Second annual Chetty. So check this out in the British Invasion section. They have the Monterey Pop Festival Pete Townsend Les Paul. It's pretty cool. And these were all instruments by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Stu Cook's bass. That was Stu Cook's Gibson guitar right there. And these he used for the Revival, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I know there are other incarnations of the band, but John Fogerty used this Washburn on The Old Man Down the Road and his Centerfield album. And that was also Stu Cook's guitar. Now let's check out the Jimi Hendrix exhibit.
Yes, we did.
Here's Jimmy's cape. Mitch Mitchell's drum head and some of his drumsticks signed. And look, Mitch Mitchell's drum set. How cool is that? They actually have a picture of him playing it right there. That is really cool to see. I love the Jimi Hendrix Experience. It's Jimmy's guitar, one of his Stratocasters. This was a gift guitar that he gave to James Wright in late 68 or 69, they think. It was kept wrapped in a blanket for nearly 30 years. He was part of the Hendrix management during the Chaz Chandler years. Very cool. And look at his costume over here. Kind of those Native American style pants. This says, Jimi Hendrix once quoted that Nashville was one of the hardest audiences in the South. Everybody knows how to play a guitar. You walk down the street and people are sitting on their porch playing their guitars. That's where I learned to play, really, in Nashville. And there's Jimmy playing in a band. Here's another costume of Jimmy's. All the costumes in here were loaned by the Al Hendrix estate. Same here. Look at that jacket. I've seen photos of him with that crazy yarn jacket on before, and then look at that. All right, moving on. So this room is unbelievable. This is all Glen Campbell stuff. Double-necked bass, signed test pressing for Wichita Lineman right there that he signed on the label. His acoustic guitar. It's amazing to have so much stuff here because he actually has his own museum here in town. See Glen Campbell show amplifier, Ovation amp. The Palmer Project drums back there. Glen's brown leather jacket, or tan leather jacket. One of his Telecasters. His nickname was Boo, Glen Boo Campbell. There's Al Casey's lap steel. And there's Al Delroy's piano that he wrote, Wichita Lineman and Galveston and those songs for Glen by the time I get to Phoenix. Oh, and there's Ravi Shankar's guitar. Pretty cool. Now this is great. These are all items from the Wrecking Crew. People that were part of the Wrecking Crew that played for Phil Spector and Brian Wilson and all those historic recordings. That's Drake Levin's guitar. Look at that outfit, that's great. Larry Netchell's bass. He used in the Wrecking Crew and with Bread. And you can see that's also Larry's, and it says Bread stenciled into it right there. And that's the wah pedal from Guitar Man. And here's John Jorgensen's Desert Rose Road case from the Desert Rose Band. And Jim Horn's flute. It says he used this on the Age of Aquarius by Fifth Dimension, God Only Knows by the Beach Boys, and Close to You by the Carpenters. Wow. And then that is Don Felder's Stratocaster. And Tommy Tedesco, one of the greatest guitar players of all time, the guy who came up with that MASH song, that was his guitar. And it says actually okay, now that I'm reading the thing up there, it says this was the guitar used on the recording of the theme song from MASH, which is actually known as Suicide is Painless. And then that's John Jorgensen's jacket and his glittery guitar, and also his Stratocaster over here. And then this pedal board and everything was used by David Hungate when he was in Toto. And that was also his amplifier. Up here we have Steve Lukather's Les Paul, another fantastic guitar player. And then Hal Blaine's drums. He played on like everything. And Hal Blaine's jacket, actually. And there's a signed picture by Brian Wilson to Hal Blaine. And here they have a recreation of the Muscle Shoals recording studio, where the members, the Swampers, went and started their own studio. There's a great picture of Willie Nelson standing out in front of this. And that was actually, the address was the title of one of Cher's albums. And here's Clayton Ivy's Hammond organ. He used this on Puppy Love by Donny Osmond, One Bad Apple by the Osmonds, Patches by Clarence Carter, which were like Fame recording, studio recordings. If Loving You Is Wrong by Luther Ingram, and Go Away Little Girl. And then back here, they have Barry Beckett's Wurlitzer. He was also part of the Muscle Shoals band. And that is Roger Hawkins' drum set. He was an original Swamper. He was one of the original members of the Fame backup band, and then went off to start Muscle Shoals Sound Studios. And then over here, going hand in hand with the Fame recording studio and Muscle Shoals Sound, Mac Davis. Mac's 12-string guitar that he played on Baby Baby Don't Get Hooked on Me. And then we have Jimmy Johnson's guitar over here that he used in Rick Hall's studio at Fame. Well, look at this. This is all memorabilia from Tom Petty. Tom Petty's jacket. Another interesting Michael Jackson style jacket of Tom Petty's. And his dragon print suit jacket. As well as a signed SG guitar by Tom. Rest in peace, Tom Petty. I just noticed as I'm making my way around, on the back of this is where we saw all the Motown memorabilia, but they actually created the storefront too, with Ariel Jones' drum set on display. And then here's a little bit of stuff from RCA out here. That's the piano that David Briggs and all those guys would use at RCA for all those hits. Floyd Kramer, little tape machine. Here's the recording studio from Jack Tracks, and some original studio time ledgers. And then they have a whole section for the G-Men from there. How cool is that? All their instruments. They recorded hits for people like Garth Brooks, and in fact, that's Garth Brooks' Takamine. And there's Garth right there, a young Garth Brooks. Milton Sledge's Gretsch drum set. Some real country history here. So here's the drum set that Santana's drummer used at Woodstock and also on the first two Santana albums. Evil Ways, Black Magic, Woman, and things like that. And then right here, look at that outfit from the era. Check out these. This is Tammy Wynette's dress. Dottie West's jacket. It's a Grand Ole Opry exhibit. Gene Seeley's dress. And Jack Green's outfit. In this case is all Chet Atkins memorabilia. Chet's cowboy hat and homemade instrument down here. his guitar, some of his awards in there. Lots of his awards, actually. His Polaroid camera from sessions. There's so much to see here. This museum is absolutely amazing. And there's one of the drum sets from the historic Ryman Grand Ole Opry days. And then we went to Billy Sherrill's grave. That was Billy Sherrill's piano. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. The Crickets. Wow. Buddy Holly and the Crickets. The Last Show type stuff. You can see Waylon's road case down here. Sonny Curtis's Music Man amplifier. Given to Sonny by Albert Lee. Amp was used with the Crickets during their time with Waylon on the road. Sonny Curtis's guitar that he used with the Crickets. Then right here we have Jerry Allison's 1958 Premier drum set. He used it playing in 1958 with Buddy Holly and the Crickets and the Everly Brothers. You can hear it on If Till I Kissed You by the Everly Brothers. And then Lightning Chance's bass. And Sonny Curtis Rhodes piano that they used in the band after Buddy passed to keep his music alive. Now I'm about to show you, they moved American recordings, or American Sound Studios where Elvis recorded, to here. And that's where he recorded Suspicious Minds. Opened in North Memphis in 1967. Had artists like Dusty Springfield, Joe Tex, the Box Tops, Neil Diamond, B.J. Thomas, and Elvis Presley. Elvis seldom used the vocal booth. He preferred to stand outside the vocal booth door singing live with the band. But here's the vocal booth anyway. How cool is that? They moved it here. You can see some of it signed over here. Various people that recorded there have signed it. Then you can see this is Reggie Young's guitar. And what's great is now I'm looking around, I'm noticing various people have signed those boards and everything up there as well in the studio, going all the way around. Here in this stack section, they have Alan Jackson Jr.'s drum set.
She knew she wanted to be that part.
And then they also have Steve Cropper's guitar. Legend. And they also recreated Sun Studios, also known as Memphis Recording Service. Sam Phillips. That's great. So then as we come over here, we have, tying in with Sun, we have Scotty Moore's guitar and Bill Black's guitar when they played with Elvis. And then look at this. We've been in Sun, but they actually have Marianne Kiesker's office. They actually have her desk and everything. Now, if you don't know who she is, she was pretty much Sam Phillips' right-hand person. It was his assistant and secretary, but she was the one that was so big of a fan of Elvis that she kept writing Sam into having Elvis come in and record. Sam didn't want to, but she kept saying, I really think he's got something. And look, they have some original gear in here from Sun.
And I wasn't gonna turn anything down. Weddings,
their direct cutter. And one of the Ampex tape machines. Oh look, B.B. King's road cases. And B.B. King's suit jacket right there. Trying to get the glare out of the way for you. And then two of his guitars. Pretty cool to see that. Here we have Bono's guitar. He's actually playing it right there. He played it in Italy. Now here's a whole display on the RCA Studio and all the session musicians that made that happen. Everybody from Pete Drake over here, his old Goldie steel guitar. Pete Drake played on a lot of stuff, Stand By Your Man and Most Beautiful Girl in the World, stuff like that. And I think he even played with on some recordings with Graham Parsons. This is Chet Atkins' guitar. Man, they even have a, this guitar back here is Ringo's guitar, his harp tone, and his blue shirt right there. And then that was the vocal mic used, so very well those early Waylon Jennings sessions that weren't successful probably used that microphone. So just as I thought I had seen it all, I come upon this, and that is James Burton's performance costume from when he was with Elvis. It's pretty cool. And then they also have the prop guitar that Elvis plays in Clambake right there. Given to him by Leo Fender. And then more Roy Orbison stuff. Roy Orbison on his motorcycle. Sadly, that's how his first wife passed away. And there's that leather jacket he's wearing on it. His passport from when the Beatles got him to come to London and play a bunch of shows there in the mid-60s. His remote-controlled boat up there. His rose-colored glasses, which I've actually got to wear a pair of those. If you ever make it to Wink, Texas, they have a Roy Orbison birth home museum, and his family, his kids have donated a pair of Roy's glasses and they'll let you try them on. And there's one of his guitars, one of his black suits right here. He was another one that was the man in black, always wore the black sunglasses and the black suits and things like that. Except for the shoes. Had to go with the Cousin Eddie white leather shoes, which I love. And then over here was one of his leg casts. Says attended a motocross scramble March of 1966. It was the final British motocross Grand Prix. Roy was invited to do a celebrity demonstration lap and borrowed a bike from one of the contenders. Roy forgot he was riding a British bike and that the gear shift was the opposite side. He was thrown off the bike, and when he was thrown off the bike when he tried to change gears. He was due to play at the famous London Palladium that very night and did so with his foot in a plaster cast. Then did the rest of the tour in the cast. And what else is interesting is that they say in here that he and his wife Claudette had been divorced a couple of months earlier, but when she heard that he had the accident and thought he was seriously injured, she flew over immediately to be with him, and that led to them getting remarried, which is sad because then, like I told you, she ended up passing away while they were out riding motorcycles together. She was hit. And there's his 1957 Birdland guitar. Oh my gosh, that was better than I could have ever imagined. What did you guys think? We're not just talking your average museum here. This museum had some, I mean, we're talking stuff that's serious history, like serious rock and roll history. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, Madison Widenhouse, for becoming my newest Patreon. And we'll catch you all next time from Nashville, Tennessee. Have a great night and goodbye.